Hey everyone, I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
And welcome back to another color class. In today's color classes, we are going to be looking at some masterpieces done by some really famous artists, including you.
Yeah.
But we're going to be looking at a whole gallery of masterpieces today and looking at through the eyes of the 6 dominant characteristics system.
If you recall, and we've gotten some comments on this that people really like this, Sarah made the comment when we did the last one, which was for the 4 seasons, that having a picture of these used in terms of color and famous paintings, having a memory painting, if you will, of these dominant characteristics was very helpful, or of the seasons.
That's how I do it. That's how I memorize each of the different seasons is different landscapes and different paintings.
And once you've got that picture in your head, you can take that with you when you shop. You can take it with you when you're shopping online, when you're shopping in a store. You carry it, and it enables you to really get into the colors and understand why one palette works so well for one person and maybe not so well for another.
So jumping into our first masterpiece we have and looking at our first system for the 6 dominant characteristics is light.
And we always tell you everything's relative, so that the first thing you're looking at is whether this person is light or whether they're deep. And this painting, it's called White on White, clue, and it was done in 1918 by Kazimir Malevich. And the reason I chose it is because it's one of these things, you know, they make jokes about a blank, empty white canvas. And yeah, it's a polar bear in the snow in the Arctic and blah, blah, you know, ha, ha, ha. But here, Malevich shows you how he can use light tones to create a successful composition, light on light on light. And that's kind of the person that you will ultimately analyze as being light has multiple tones of light. Light hair, light skin, light eyes. Thus, light.
And I see warm versus cool as well.
A little bit, yes. And that's why I chose the paintings, so that it was more than just light on light. And then deep. Deep, again, we have the same artist that I just absolutely love. Same time period, deep on deep. If you look closely into that painting, and even at the swatches that we give you down below, barely visible, but visible, he's still able to create an impressive composition with working all in that deep, those deep hues. Again, same with people, deep hair, deep skin, deep eyes.
It reminds me of like that crackle nail polish
that
came out.
It does. And I love it. The funny thing about art, and I know that we have a lot of art lovers on our channel, and maybe you are a color analyst, maybe you're not, but you come because the color theory appeals to you, because the comments that you give me tell me that you're deeply into color theory. And so you may appreciate this when people say, oh, you know, that looks like nothing. I could have done that. But you didn't. And especially in 1913, you didn't. And so that's what makes these masterpieces, that they're cutting edge, they're before their time, and that they take different elements of color theory and explore them down to the bone. And so in this case, we see an example of light and an example of deep, and how there's a whole world inside that deep category, and there's a whole world inside that light category, but it's all light. Next we go to warm, or if they're cool. So we're going to show you a warm painting. It's one of my favorite paintings on earth, by Frederick Leighton, done in 1895, and it's called Flaming June. What we're looking at is, if the most dominant thing about this painting is that warmth of that dress, that flame, it's named Flaming June, that makes it warm, because that is the dominant characteristic.
This is a stunning painting.
It is stunning, and like I said, I have a personal attachment to it. But look at the palette. warm.
Right. Gorgeous.
Warm all the way through. And, for someone who is warm, that would be a beautiful palette for them. We go to cool, which is kind of the counterpoint of warm. It's the opposite of warm in terms of color temperature. And one of my favorite artists, as you guys well know, Claude Monet. I love him. 1926, he was an impressionist painting, and his entire vibe was to create a sense of the environment, not through line, not through shape, not necessarily through structure, but through color, using color to define a mood, to define the world around him, a sense of everything. Because what you don't see here are lines. You don't see, blocks of color. You see color on color next to color, juxtaposed next to color. And this one, one of the Lily Pond series, is a beautiful example of cool.
This is stunning. I love this. We need this as like a scarf. How gorgeous.
We do. In fact, we are going to launch a series of scarves in colors for different palettes, and we'll make sure that this is prominently represented. Next, another one of my favorite paintings, and maybe because it's a little sentimental, but mostly because it is a true representation of soft. If you're going through the analysis, is it light or is it deep? Is it warm or is it cool? Yeah, a little on the cool side, but is it screaming cool like the Monet painting? No. It's screaming soft. And Mary Cassatt, I love her because she was one of the only famous female impressionist painter. I mean, painting back before the turn of the century in the 1800s, and just brilliant. And she used topics that are, close to the heart of women. So, perfect example of soft, Mary Cassatt. Clear was tough. And I needed to give you a little explanation about clear. So, I used one of my own paintings. I'm not saying it's a masterpiece. Far from it. What I'm saying is, because it's my own painting, I felt good about manipulating it to show you what a soft version of this painting would be versus the clear. Now, if you look at the palette, you see everything from stark white to the blackest black. And that's the majority. That's most of this painting. Stark white or black. But kind of in there defining things and accentuating things and giving it some roundness are some other colors. But how is this clear versus soft? So I've taken my painting and I've changed it to be lots of soft elements. You still have the dark. It's not quite black. And you still have the white. But in between, rounding these things out, you have more gray tones. And that's the difference between something that's soft and something that's clear, is you have lots of things in your tonality there that are in the gray area versus, stark black, stark white. Now, in human beings, we say that you look at the eyes. The eyes really will help you determine if something is clear, if someone is clear, because the eyes are bold and they're like glass and they're
high contrast,
faceted. In a painting, that's more difficult to do. So I chose something that was just as high contrast as possible to give you a sense. And that, my friends, is or are the 6 dominant characteristics as represented in paintings.
Masterpieces. Mad.
5 masterpieces and one of mine that I put up for your enjoyment.
It's amazing. We love it. We love to see your art.
She's my kid.
Now we're gonna need a full video of all of your art done. Seasonally.
We did want to see if something you'd be interested in. I'm planning a painting right now, a very large painting, and it's going to fall under the soft banner. In greens, and we thought you might be interested in seeing, a time lapse of how that's done. If that's something that appeals to you, color analyst, let us know, because what we don't want to do is put something out there that's just going to bore you.
All right, so thank you for joining us today. One last thing, don't forget, subscribe, like, and comment. We would love to see you on this journey of color analysis with us. And we do have a couple questions like, should we show paintings? We also talked about mixing colors.
And your desires. Because
Right.
when we call this color class, we meant it. What we want to do is educate all about color. But again, we don't want to go so far afield in terms
Right.
of our color teaching that we lose the people that we want the most. So let us know.
And thank you for joining us today. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
And this has been another color class, and we'll see you in our next video.